So anyway, good afternoon and welcome you all to the corporate finance, first class for MBA semester 2 students. This is Dr. Mahesh Monjeri, assistant professor from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dharwad. Okay, so dear students, you completed your semester 1, in the classroom, but all of a sudden you have to continue your semester 2 in the online mode. Okay, but I assure you that the classes will be alive, charming, and knowledgeable at the same time. And you will have all the resources, including syllabus copy, the reading material, the solved numerical problems, as well as each session which I conduct is recorded. And later I'll share I upload the recorded videos into the classes into YouTube, and I share the link of the video into Google Classroom. Okay, so only thing required is your attention, your interest to learn, and I hope you have it. Okay, so to begin with the subject, first let us go through the syllabus of corporate finance. Okay. Yeah, so the title of the course is Corporate Finance. Okay, see earlier it was the Financial Management, and it was changed into Corporate Finance. Okay, subject code 20P MBAC 203. Okay, so I will not go through the course learning objectives and mapping of the course outcomes, but definitely I would like to browse through the contents of the syllabus. Okay, so unit 1. Okay, so we are going to learn 2 chapters. So they are, one is financial management and overview. Okay, where you will learn finance and related disciplines, scope of financial management and objectives of financial management. Okay, all theory. And chapter number 2 in unit 1 itself is the time value of money. It's a numerical. Okay, so there is nothing theory here, all are numerical problems. So there where we are going to learn different compounding technique and discounting techniques, okay, to understand the time value of money concept. Okay, then unit 2, we are going to learn the long-term investment decision capital budgeting techniques. So those who are other than commerce background, okay, so need not worry, everything will be explained, okay, and all the resources will be provided. So capital budgeting, okay, evaluating long-term investment decisions is referred to as capital budgeting in corporate finance. Okay, so I use the words corporate finance and financial management interchangeably. Okay, they are not different terms. Okay, just they will be used interchangeably. You should remember. Then unit 3, okay, long-term investment decision evaluation of the project proposals. Okay, evaluation of the investment proposals continues with the measurement of cost of capital. Okay, so we'll see how cost of capital is measured and how it is used as a evaluation criteria in evaluating capital projects or investment decisions. Then unit 4 discusses about current assets management. So that is basically working capital management. What is it? What are the factors affecting working capital and computation? How to calculate the working capital. Then the 5th unit deals with the financing decisions. So where we are going to learn operating, financial, and combined leverage. Okay, so and how this is made, how this is used as a decision-making criteria in financing decisions. Okay, then finally in unit 6, we are going to learn about dividend decisions. Okay, so it's a pure theory. So unit 6 is only one chapter where we learn determinants of dividend policy. So if you look at the syllabus basically, okay, so the scope of financial management or the scope of corporate finance, if you consider, okay, so there are 3. One is investment decisions. See, a company invests in new projects. Okay, so that is the first decision. So the second is financing decision, how to raise finance, how to raise capital, and in what proportion of debt and equity. So that is second decision. Third decision is dividend decisions, whether to pay dividend or not. If the company decides to pay dividend, how much to pay and which method to adopt. So the scope of financial management, which I explained to you, okay, the syllabus is exactly prepared according to that. See, in units 2 and 3, so we'll discuss about the first decision in financial management, that is long-term investment decisions. How a company makes a decision to invest or not to invest in a capital project, huge project, which requires huge finance. Okay, so there are two chapters, one with capital budgeting techniques and another with measurement of cost of capital. We also cover in the same decision current assets management. So how working capital is managed and computed in a company. Then the second decision of finance manager is financing decision. See, I explained that in first aspect, a manager needs to invest in new projects which can generate revenue for the company. But to invest, the manager would require finance or money. So how finance is raised, in what proportion of debt and equity. So these are discussed in unit number 5, financing decision. So this is the second decision of finance manager which he has to make. Third decision is dividend decisions. So whether to pay dividend or not, and if the company decides to pay, which method to adopt and how much to be distributed as dividend to shareholders. So the syllabus exactly covers the scope of corporate finance or financial management. Then the textbook referred is basically Khan and Jain, Financial Management Text, Problems and Cases. So this is all about syllabus. So any student would like to ask any general question about syllabus? I hope I am audible to you all, right?
Sir.
Yeah, thank you. Because when you go in the silent mode, I have to keep running that alarm. Yeah, so in that case, if you don't have any queries, so also understand that in your semester end examination, you will have 7 questions of 20 marks. 7 questions of 20 marks, if you can recall. You have to answer any 4 full questions from question number 1 to 6. Each set of question carries 3, 7, 10, like that, 20 marks each. And last one is question number 7 will be case study for another 20 marks, which is compulsory. So what is the total marks in the question paper? I'm not asking what maximum marks. Total number of marks in the question paper? 20.
140.
Correct. Who is that?
Swati Pola.
Swati. 140 marks. Total will be there. You have to answer maximum 100 mark questions. Correct? Yeah, so out of that 140 marks, everybody open your ears, stay awake and listen. Out of 140 marks, 100 marks will be numerical problems, including compulsory case study will be numerical only for 20 marks. So total 100 marks will be of numerical only, numerical problems only, and only 40 marks will be of theory. So this is a subject in entire MBA where you will have 100 marks totally dedicated only for numerical problems. So that's why I have organized my resources well. What is required is your regular attendance and attention. And when you don't understand something, immediately you have to ask, and you have to refer to the resources. A lot of resources are shared in Google Classroom in my subject. You need to check them, read them, and come prepared for the classes. Who can explain what already I have shared in Google Classroom? Yes. What is already shared in Google Classroom? Yeah, why there is silence?
Sir, first chapter theory notes, sir.
Theory, reading material we call it. Okay. So theory, what to read from chapter number 1, that is shared. Other than that,
Syllabus copy.
syllabus copy. Very good, Chinmay. Okay. So thank you both of you. So like that, you will keep receiving resources. Remember. Okay. Your duty is to check the Google Classroom updates and refer the material. Okay. So now, if you have any other general queries, you can ask me. Otherwise, I would prefer to go ahead with unit number 1, chapter number 1.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in the next sem we'll be opting our wanted courses, right, sir, like finance, HR. and
That
stuff.
is semester 3. Yes.
Sir, later if we take finance, will this subject be in depth or this is the final, sir?
Okay. See, in semester 1 and 2, like marketing, HR, and finance, especially now. Okay. So what you learn as the chapters, some of them become subject in semester 3 and 4. Are you able to understand?
Sir.
So that is how you need to understand. So like in marketing, I'll give the example. Okay, we learned personal selling process. Okay, so it is a part of sales force management, which becomes a subject in semester 4. Advertising, we learned 1 chapter. Remember, advertising, sales promotion, public relations. Okay, 3 chapters we learned. All those 3, integrated marketing communication, becomes 1 subject in semester 4. HRM, you have learned recruitment and selection in HRM as 1 chapter. It will become a separate subject. Same way. Okay. So when we learn in units 2, 3, and 4, investment decisions, it will become a subject. Investment, okay, analysis and portfolio management, it becomes a separate subject. So like that. Okay, some chapters become subjects in semester 3 and 4 electives. So basically in semester 1 and 2, you will learn the subjects in brief. Okay, and more detail in semester 3 and 4. So it is like a eligibility. If you understand and learn the semester 1 and 2 subjects properly, okay, your ability to understand the subjects in semester 3 and 4 will be higher. Okay, have I answered your question, Keshav?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but in corporate finance, you will understand to what depth, okay, we are going to learn. Okay, and those who have already learned in BCom and BBA, you will see how it is started at different level in MBA. Okay, so please remember what I have told. Okay. So yeah, any other queries, general queries? So no, you don't have any queries. I hope you are sure. So let me share the PowerPoint slide for unit number 1, chapter number 1. Okay, and make a beginning to syllabus. Okay, students, can you see this PowerPoint slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so financial management and overview, chapter number 1 from unit 1. Okay, so what are we going to learn in this chapter? Okay, so our overview or outline of this chapter. So we are going to learn finance and related disciplines, scope of financial management, then organization of a finance function. It is nothing but organization structure. Then objectives of financial management. So this is what is covered in chapter number 1. Okay, so initially, okay, before we understand what is the financial management, let us differentiate the financial services. Financial services are not financial management. Okay, so you will have a separate subject on banking and financial services in semester 3, if I'm not okay, if I'm right. So finance may be defined first. Okay, in simple words, what is finance? Finance may be defined as the art and science of managing money for a corporate. Okay, I made it very simple and clear. Financial management may be defined as the art and science of managing money for the company. Okay, the major areas of finance are financial services that are concerned with the design and delivery of advice, financial products to individuals and business and governments. Say for example, a mutual fund, systematic investment plan is a financial service. Okay. So, and individuals as well as the corporates as well as the governments invest in mutual funds. You should know that. Then the second term, financial management, is concerned with the duties of the financial managers in the business firm. So how we define finance? Finance may be defined as the art and science of managing money. And what is the financial management? Financial management is concerned with the duties of the financial managers in the business firm. So what is the title for the finance manager of the company? Can anybody answer? With the designation or job title of the finance manager of a company. CFO. What is the full form of a CFO?
Corporate Financial Officer, sir.
Chief Financial Officer. Okay. CFO is a Chief Financial Officer. So financial management is concerned with the duties of the Chief Finance Manager in the business firm. Then what are the duties of finance manager? We shall learn. Financial managers actively manage the financial affairs of any type of business. Any type of business means financial business, non-financial business houses, private and public companies, large and small companies, profit seeking or not for profit seeking companies. So everybody needs financial manager. Okay. Then, okay, so here let's see. Anybody who is not able to understand what is the finance or what is the financial management? So finance is the art and science of managing money. And financial management is concerned with the duties of the financial managers in the business firm. Okay. So I shall skip a couple of slides to make you understand the duties of finance manager. Okay. So duties of finance manager or scope of financial management, investment decision, then financing decision, and dividend policy decision. To make decisions with respect to dividend policy, to make decisions with respect to financing, that is raising capital, and to make decisions with respect to investment in projects is the duty of the finance manager. Okay, that is the duty of the finance manager or chief finance officer. So anybody who is not able to understand what is the financial management. So when a question is asked, define financial management, you can begin with answering finance may be defined as the art and science of managing money. Okay, then you can directly jump to financial management is concerned with the duties of the financial managers in the business firm. What is the scope of financial management? You can either write scope of financial management or duties of financial manager, investment decisions, financing decisions, and dividend policy decisions. This is how you should answer. Any queries, any doubt here? Okay, no. Ganesh says no doubts. So I hope you are able to understand. Now the second topic, okay, in the chapter is the finance and related disciplines. So I repeat, now we are moving on to the second topic. Okay, so as you can see here, we are moving on to the next topic in the chapter, finance and related disciplines. So it will give you a better understanding of what finance is or financial management is. So first we are going to understand finance and economics, how finance and economics are related. So before I explain this, try to understand. Okay, in your MBA, if you look at the portfolio of the subjects that you learn, like marketing, finance, human resources, business communication, business environment, okay, economics for that matter, operations management. So why different subjects? Why so many subjects? Basically, okay, when a manager takes a decision, he cannot make a decision in isolation. Finance manager cannot make a decision in isolation. The decisions that are made by financial manager will have consequences on other areas also. Okay, like marketing, for example. Okay, or on production, for example. Okay, so it is important for a finance manager to understand how finance is related to other disciplines of management. So the first one discipline of management is economics. So let us learn how finance and economics are related. Okay, this is to widen the knowledge of finance manager. So business firm operates in the macroeconomic environment. I hope you understand this. All the business firms operate in the macroeconomic environment, and these macroeconomic environmental forces are similar to all companies in a given industry. So that is the reason why, since the business firm operates in the macroeconomic environment which are not controlled by the company, so the finance manager should understand how monetary policy affects the cost and availability of funds. Okay, so what is the monetary policy? Who can explain quickly? You already learned it in semester 1. Okay, monetary policy deals with the availability of funds in the market. Availability of funds in the market. Okay, so who develops the monetary policy at least? Can you tell? Who comes out with that monetary policy, or who develops that monetary policy in the country, in India? No? Pin drop silence?
Finance Minister, sir.
No.
RBI.
Yes, very good. Who is that? Swati. Reserve Bank of India, the Apex Bank of India. Okay, administrates, okay, and develops the monetary policy. It brings it into implementation. Remember this. So Reserve Bank, being an apex bank to the country, it controls the supply or flow of funds into the market or into the economy. Say for example, if okay, there is a recession in the market. Okay, customers are hesitating to purchase. Either they cancel their purchases or they postpone their purchases. Okay, so what happens in this context? Okay, there is, since customers are not purchasing, companies are not making more sales. So inflow of the funds for companies is lesser. Okay, so what the bank RBI does in this case, to encourage the customers to purchase. Okay, and to discourage them from saving the money into bank, they reduce the interest rate in the bank. So customers will learn that okay, it's not useful to keep money in the bank. Okay, it's better to spend. At least they will get some tax benefits when you purchase a home loan, for example. Okay, so that is how. And say for example, if the RBI has to increase the flow of funds into the market, so there is something called as okay, bank rate. The rate at which Reserve Bank of India lends money to other banks like Karnataka Bank, okay, HDFC, okay, RBI lends money to other banks in the country, and it doesn't lend free. RBI also charges a rate of interest to other banks. So if the Apex Bank, RBI wants to increase the flow of funds into the market, they reduce the bank rate. They reduce the rate of interest which they charge to other banks. In turn, the other banks, okay, like Karnataka Bank, for example, or Canara Bank, Syndicate Bank, whatever, okay, so they also reduce the rate of interest on their loans. So when the loan becomes cheaper, okay, so it means as good as decline in price increases demand for loans. And definitely consumer, we're talking about consumer loans here. So when there is less money into the market, this is how RBI, okay, enables flow of more funds into the economy. So a financial manager should understand how monetary policy affects the cost and availability of funds. Okay. So then be versed in fiscal policy and its effects on economy. Fiscal policy deals with the expenditure of the government of India, for example. Okay. So what the what government of India does periodically, they review, okay, their budget and they review how much already they have spent. So depending on the spending in the previous months, government of India will adjust its expenditure in the coming months. Okay, so try to understand the concept. And when government spends less, okay, it affects the economy because government expenditure results in employment generation. Okay, so remember that. And also a big business for many B2B companies, business to business companies. For example, okay, road development of road infrastructure, development of a port, development of airport, for example. Okay, so government spends on this. When they spend, it generates employment. Okay, enables people to earn income and spend on consumer goods again. So this is how economy grows. Beware of various financial institutions and their financing policy and its effects on the economy. Okay, so there are primary markets, secondary markets, I hope you know. Okay, and there are financial institutions which provide loans to corporates. So a finance manager is required to know the financing policy of the various financial institutions. Okay, and how it will affect the economy. Okay, couple of years ago, if you had read business today, if I am not wrong, the magazine cover story was a big credit freeze before COVID-19. It was around demonetization. Okay, it was around demonetization time. Okay, so there is a cover story in Business Today magazine, monthly magazine it is. Okay, big credit freeze. So how they explained how bank did not have money to give away loans to customers. Okay, due to which many small scale and medium scale industries are suffering. They're struggling to arrange for working capital, to purchase the raw materials, to pay for electricity, to pay the salaries of or wages of the employees. They are struggling. Okay, so that is how finance manager is required to understand how monetary policy affects, okay, how fiscal policy affects, and how the financing policy of different financial institutions affect the economy. When you say affect the economy, it affects the availability of funds, availability of money for a company, which is required for the purpose of investment. Okay. Then the macroeconomics theories provide for effective operations of business firms. The relevant theories are those involving supply and demand relationships. I hope we have learned enough of this. And profit maximization strategies. Okay. Then issues related to mix of productive factors. Okay. Then optimal sales level. Okay. And product pricing strategies. So these are related to microeconomics. Okay. So in this way, please remember that is the reason why, okay, for MBA syllabus, different subjects, okay, are even taught in each semester. Because when you make a decision as a marketing manager, chief marketing officer, or a chief finance officer, your decisions will affect the performance of the overall organization. That is the reason why even a chief finance officer must be aware about how finance is related with other disciplines of management. So we just now completed one discipline, how finance is related to economics. Okay, so remember, this is the importance of theoretical knowledge. Then, yeah, we'll move on to next, another concept in economics. In addition to marginal analysis, suggests that financial decisions should be made on the basis of comparison of marginal revenue and marginal cost. So marginal analysis is the economics concept. I'm very much sure you have learned it in semester 1 economics subject. Okay. So according to which, when a company, let us say, already has an old machine and they're planning to buy a new machine. Okay. So what is the actual increase in revenue due to the purchase of new machine? We call it as marginal revenue. Okay. So on that basis, a decision has to be made whether to purchase, replace the old machine with the new machine. If the new machine is not contributing significantly, if the marginal revenue of the new machine, okay, is not significant, then there is no use to invest in the new machine. Can continue with the older machine as well. We'll learn some, we'll solve some numericals also in this, related to this. Okay. Such a decision will lead to an increase in profits of the firm. So if the new machine's marginal revenue is not higher, okay, then no need to replace the old machine. So such a decision will increase profits of the firm because it prevents the company from unnecessarily investing in a new machine. Okay. So any queries here? Finance and economics. So there is a small illustration here to understand. Okay, the marginal analysis. Okay. But before that, if you have any doubts, I can clarify. Okay, so next slide illustrates okay how a financing how a decision should be made okay by finance manager based on marginal analysis. Okay. So this in this illustration, the financial manager of a departmental store okay is contemplating to replace one of the online computers with a new, more sophisticated one that would both speed up processing time and handle a large volume of transactions. So the situation here is at a departmental store, like in India, we have one departmental store, Shoppers Stop. Okay, in Bengaluru, I have seen it. So such a departmental store manager is planning to replace an old computer with a new, more sophisticated computer. Okay, so whether he should replace the old computer with the new computer or not, using marginal analysis, how the manager can make a decision which would result in increased profit for the company is illustrated here. The new computer would require a cash outlay of 8 lakh rupees. So price of the new computer is 8 lakh rupees. And the old computer could be sold at 2,80,000 rupees. The old computer has a scrap value or a salvage value. Okay, so you can sell it at 2,80,000 rupees. The total benefits from the new computer and the old computer would be 10 lakh and 3,50,000 respectively. Okay, so what is the return on investment? Okay, for a new computer, it is 10 lakhs. And for old computer is 3,50,000 respectively. So let us apply the marginal analysis and understand whether the manager should replace the old computer with the new computer or not. Okay. So benefits the new computer are 10 lakh, as I mentioned. Less benefits to the old computer. See, old computer is already in place and it is being used, and it is giving a benefit of up to 3,50,000 rupees. So this is what we call marginal revenue, okay, or marginal benefit of the new computer. It is only 6,50,000 rupees, not entire 10 lakh, because you already have an old machine and it is giving you a benefit of 3,50,000 rupees. So when you deduct the benefits of the old machine from the new machine which you are planning to purchase, you get the marginal benefits, okay, which is actually 6,50,000 rupees will be the actual benefit if you replace the old machine with new machine. Then cost of the new computer need not be 8 lakh rupees, though the price of MRP of the new computer is 8 lakh rupees, because you can sell the old computer for 2,80,000 rupees. Okay, so actually you will be spending only 5,20,000 rupees on the new computer. Okay, so the marginal cost of the new computer is only 5,20,000